Email address being given out. If you are, please let me know and I'll scratch it out before I send the list to you all. Come on, Eric, come on in. Let's come on in here. Please sign up when you get a chance. Please sign up, right? So the other thing that I will do real quick is I want everyone to introduce themselves. The ones that have walked in pretty much know who I am, so I'll introduce myself again at the end. So we will start with Ms. Pam. If you will please tell us, give us your name, what club you're affiliated with, and how long you've been with Toastmasters, and then we'll go around the room so we can get to know each other.
Pam Yates, I'm also Leon. I am the president of Lake Puniac Toastmasters in Puniac Springs. I've been with the Toastmasters now for 4 years.
Awesome, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm Eric Cowden. I'm president of the Navy Sounders Club, which meets at the Navy Federal here in Pensacola. I joined Toastmasters last year, I want to say maybe around April or something, and then they needed a president around for July, and I was kind of like, well, I'll do it if you need me to. It's a good experience, so I got thrown in. I'm learning as I go, but one speech away from my CC, so I'm kind of doing my whole and officer stuff together.
Awesome, thank you very much. Go ahead, Logan.
I'm Logan. Same exact thing, just about. I started in April. Our company started a club, Wind Creek Atmore. No one there had any idea what Toastmasters was, and they elected officers at the same time. We had our kickoff meeting, and guess who's the president? I'm not that close to my CC yet, but I just did my 5th speech. I'm trying to get everyone else to go. I don't want to be the only person getting all the credit.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to let everybody else and push them first before I do.
Thank you very much. I don't think I know who you are. What's your name?
My name's Robert Clough.
Okay.
I've been Toastmaster about 3 years now. President of my chapter in Ocean Springs, Biloxi area, and Gulf Shores or Gulf area of Mississippi. I've got my CC, CCB, and CL.
Awesome. Come on in there, you don't go over there. I want to make sure we're all in the circle. Okay, go ahead, Ann.
I am Anna Pope, and I am with Monday Night Toastmasters, and they meet every Monday night at Pensacola State College in room 2033, if anybody is interested.
Awesome. Good.
And I do have my competent communicator, and I'm also a competent leader, and I'm going for my next step. I have to do 2 more speeches. We'll see how it goes.
Hey,
But
you can do
you guys are
this.
more than welcome.
Awesome.
I'm Sally Vickers. I'm president of the Advanced Club of Pensacola. And my home club is Gulf Breeze. I'm also a member of Western Gate. And current area 52 director.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I'm the oddball. I'm John Carlson from
Not
Iowa. Actually, I'm smart. It's snowing up there. Y'all don't have that. I'm president of the Ankeny Toastmasters Club. I also belong to the Prairie Voices Toastmasters out of DTM, and I've been in Toastmasters 37 years.
Awesome. That is
Ted Mary, Club 2837, Copcats in Mobile, Alabama. I'm a DTM. This is my 58th year.
wow. Good job. I had a hat on that ticket to you. Okay, I think I'll sit down. You can teach the class now. Go ahead.
Still fun.
My name's Daniel Judge. I'm the president of Western Gate Toastmasters Club here in Pensacola. I have been in Toastmasters for a little over...
Watching people.
I've been in Toastmasters for a little over...
There's always a late person. I'm it. I apologize.
Good?
I'm good, thank you. Go ahead, Dan. I apologize.
That's all right. As I mentioned, I've been in Toastmasters for a little over 2 years. And I'm excited to be here to learn from everybody else. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning, my name is Sam Reynolds. I'm a member of Coffee County Toastmasters in Enterprise, Alabama. I'm also a member of the Monarch Toastmasters out of Montgomery, Alabama. I've been a Toastmaster for 11 years, and I hope to cross with you in the upcoming days to get my DTM.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Chris Walker. I'm the president of the Ellison Park Toastmasters. We meet here in Pensacola. I've been Toastmasters a little over 6 years, and I have an ACB.
Awesome, it's good. Continue to go forward.
Yeah.
My name is Eric Peterson, and I am president of the Gulf Breeze Toastmasters. And we meet on Wednesdays at lunch.
So in case you want to come by with me.
Yeah. Also, well, there's that. But I've been a Toastmaster for less than 2 years, and I have the CC.
Awesome. Go ahead.
James Brown, I've been a Toastmaster since 2011. I'm currently stationed on Herbert Field. I have a CC and a CL.
Awesome. Our late come, which I will give you a pass because you were on the podium speaking earlier.
Thank you.
So you're handling many duties, but don't let it happen again.
Yes, ma'am.
No, just joking. Go ahead. Introduce yourself with the name of your club and how long you've been a part of Toastmasters and anything else you'd like to add.
I'm Tony Pond. I'm president of Eastern Shore Toastmasters, which is located in Baldwin County. This doesn't always happen in your club. We literally had like 15 people show up the other night, and like 8 of them were guests. It was the weirdest thing. We thought we were going to have to get an extra room.
Good thing to have.
It really was. And we had this lady, I wanted to tell this story earlier, but I didn't have time. We had this lady from France come in. She works for Ostel, who's in Toastmasters in Hamburg. And she was telling us a story. It was neat. They meet for 2 hours a night in Germany, and she gave a little tabletop. It was the neatest thing. We are an international club, and it's neat when you have an international guest show up. So
Absolutely, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm Scott Hawkins. I'm the president of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Toastmasters Club. And I've been in Toastmasters almost 2 years. I have a CC and an ALB.
Oh, wonderful. Did I miss anyone else? Going. Oh, I think I did it. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. So one of our goals for coming together today is, one, I want to show of hands, and don't be embarrassed or shy. How many of you, when you took on the role of being Toastmaster, president, actually read your handbook under the section that says president, telling you what you should be doing?
Halfway.
there you go.
Your first point of order is go back and read that book because it actually has a lot of helpful information. And I appreciate the honesty because the only way we're going to get through this is being honest with each other. I'm not here to go back and say, do you know she did not read her book? That's not me. I'm here to help you. I could go over everything in that handbook, and if time permits, we will go back and go over some of those things, but I want to get right down to the nitty-gritty and find out what's going on in your club. I do not want you all to be shy, because I will not do this by myself. And I don't want to have a call on you because we're not in elementary school. But what I want you to do is if I say, what kind of issue are you having in your club, Logan? And I won't normally do that, I'll just let you volunteer, but since Logan knows me. Give me one issue that you feel like you're having in your club that you would really like to see resolved so that we can all talk through it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask for the issues first. Our note taker would take down what the different issues are, and then we will go back and brainstorm over a way that we can tackle those and hopefully find a way, basically reach a consensus on what will work when you go back to your club so you're not having that issue any longer. So give me one issue that you may be having in your club.
One of our main issues in which we just yesterday swapped, so maybe it'll work, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Scheduling conflicts. We're a corporate club, so a lot of times I get 6 emails the morning of our meeting. Our meeting's at 10 a.m. I'll get 6 emails come in at 9:30, hey, I can't make it. So we're scrambling, changing the agenda around, moving things around to make sure the meeting goes through. And it's always something. We're casinos, so we have every department we have representation, so scheduling is an issue. So someone at our last meeting offered to have afternoon meetings instead of it always being in the morning. So we're going to try that now. We'll have a meeting in the morning and a meeting in the afternoons now to see if that can maybe cover both sides maybe. We're not sure.
Okay, okay, thank you for giving us that. Thank you very much. Hello, gentlemen. Well, we did introductions, so I will let you introduce yourself in a little while.
May I stay seated?
You may stay seated, and guess what? Everybody stays seated when they introduce themselves, so you can stay seated.
I am Joan Welby. I've been in Toastmasters for 30 years now, not as long as Ted. But I am a DTN and proud, it was a proud day when I received my DTN. I'm the president of Downtown Toastmasters Mobile.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. We will carry on with the meeting. So I need someone to raise their hand, and I need to hear another issue. Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Another issue that's going on. We'll start over here, and then I'll get you next.
Yes.
Go ahead.
We've still had the last minute cancellations and having to fill in that he mentioned. I think we all struggle with that. But the other problem we have is everybody just wants to be a speaker. So we're having 3 or 4 speakers per meeting, which is probably a good problem to have, but it's kind of difficult and it makes our meetings go a little bit long.
We're going to address those, I promise you. Go ahead, sir.
I wish our club had.
I know, right? What issue are you having with your club?
We have several members, but, and I don't know if anybody else, it's like we have these new people come in, and then we won't see them again for 3 months. We don't know what we're doing wrong with that. And I could tell my leadership team, they were very discouraged the other day. And then the shyest one of all came up to us, we can make this work. And she encouraged the rest of us were down. What are we doing wrong? How do we get them back? It's not that they're not coming back, but we may not see them for 2 months. And then all of a sudden they show up. Oh, you ready to give an icebreaker or something like that?
Exactly.
So that's the problem we're having.
Okay, awesome. Yes, go ahead.
With
We're
our
going to
officers,
we'll take her, okay, go ahead.
I'll pause. With our officer positions, of course, they're elected in through fellow Toastmasters, and I was elected president. But I feel that some of the officers do not fully go through and honor in the handbook, whichever they're supposed to be doing or something outlined. And because I have been to those officer positions that actually laid out, this is how I do it. You're more than welcome to do it whichever way it fits in your schedule. But with those officer positions, it's challenging to have them, after they've been elected, to continue to stick with it. And there are, I'd say, 3, 4, maybe 5 that are really into 100% Monday Night Toastmasters. I feel like, okay, the newbies are here. Would you like to become an officer?
Yes, exactly. Or you did volunteer instead of volunteer?
Yes,
I'm very familiar with that.
For a few of them. They're fun though. I like them. You learn something.
You do.
But that is a challenge, but it's not.
Thank you. No, we don't. Go ahead.
Membership, in terms of, we get new members, but we also lose members due to time commitments. We meet at lunchtime, and that can be challenging in the workforce when emergencies come up. So that's where our struggle is maintaining. Right now, we don't have a problem. Sally can attest to this. We don't have a problem with our education goals.
Oh, good.
Our problem is going to be, do we make it to 20 members, back to 20 members? And so that's where we struggle every year.
Who hasn't spoke? Don't make me call you. I know who you are.
We have a
Oh, go ahead.
problem.
Okay.
We have about 15 members, we meet at lunch,
Okay.
and we were going along just great, and then all of a sudden, in the last 2 months, primarily for business reasons, we lost about 6 members very quickly. So we have got to redouble our efforts and spread the word and try to get some more. But this happens, this gentleman here has the same problem. The business things changes and they can't make the meetings. So they either go to another club or they just have to drop out. So we're in the November.
Good. Very good. Yes.
Well, just to build off what he said, we're also a corporate club, so we kind of have that scheduling issue. We do have like a noon meeting on Wednesdays, and then every other week, and then on the off weeks we have like a evening Tuesday meeting. So it does kind of give people options, but at the same time, we're constantly running into that same problem where people will sign up and then drop out. So at any given point, there's 2 speakers lined up, and I know we're probably going to have 1. So it's like I almost sometimes feel pressure to have a speech ready or something. So I think the issue is a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm scheduled to be off that day, I can't do it. Or I'm busy working and I can't do it. So it's like, they don't want to do it because they're off, and they don't want to do it because they're working. So the only way they're there is if they're working, but it's slow enough that they can make it work. So I guess that's a normal thing. But that's kind of a constant struggle. And also just kind of I don't know if you say it's because you're in that work environment, it's like we have a conference room reserved for an hour, and then a lot of times someone else needs that room the next hour, and everyone has to go back to work anyways. So it's like there's no time to like sort of linger afterwards, sign their manuals, coach them. It's just kind of like meeting adjourned and everyone disappears. So I feel like to really give that sort of like personal touch, it's almost like we have to email or call or reach out individually. So that's another challenge.
Thank you, thank you.
Although we struggle a little bit with just an attendance in general, seems to always be a flux, people available, not available. Everything else in my club's going pretty well, except for attendance of meetings of club officers.
Yeah, you can have to work on that.
Yeah, we're struggling with that one.
Okay, thank you. Sam, did you get this one?
Sure. I would say probably the problems that we have in our club have been addressed by most of you already. I'm going to put a check mark by all of those. Our club is 4 years old. We meet twice a month. So it becomes difficult to get speakers in rotation. And when you have at least 20 members, to be able to schedule that and rotate that around, it becomes a little difficult to get everybody an opportunity to speak for those scheduled speeches. But I would say the most recent issue we have deals with our club officers. Things will happen within individuals' lives. We've had, club officers go through a divorce, another one jobs to change, and now we've got to fulfill those roles very quickly. And so the officers we have in attendance today look for dual roles. So it becomes really difficult, but that's the stuff we deal with.
Thank you. Jake?
Well, same membership, station on base. We have a meeting on Wednesdays too, from 11 to 12. And we have a large military base in the PCS, they get TLI. I also been the president of GAP, so I just totally missed for a month, 2 to 3 months, like this past fall. Well, I came back for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I was gone again all of December. And our membership just fluctuates because we'll have people there as actual members for this 6 months, and then half of them in PCS or half of them get orders, then they're gone. Then we have to switch them and try to find different. We have to recruit different members, and I don't really like meeting during lunchtime, usually every week. I just think that lunchtime is rushed. A lot of people work through lunch, whether you're civilian or military, and it feels like it's a constant rush to get there, get the roles assigned, and then sign off on the book at the end of the meeting and make sure the guest list is signed, everybody's been there, and try to follow with it. Since that's the best time to have the meeting, we have to find ways to. I'm just struggling with ways to generate that membership and just to keep people, motivated to, keep the attendance up.
Most of the problems are already listed, so we're kind of
No
just,
new problems
yeah.
that's not listed on there?
Yeah. One of our goals is to become distinguished, because we've been distinguished for so many years in a row, and our club's been around for 10 years, so I'd like to meet that bar, yeah. And so, of course, sign-ups, scheduling, commitment, it's just, I've had different ideas that I've worked and tried different strategies. Somehow I've found that with all groups, especially like nonprofit, January seems to be that month where you get your flux of new people, and that's it, like, and then you kind of just work with that January group, because most people are, in America, are making their New Year's goals. So right now, we're just trying to work with the new members in our group and trying to get them, their competent communicators or competent leaderships and advanced. So we're just trying to work with those people that we have, of course, dealing with all the issues. But I mean, everything else is up there. I don't think anything else would be different than what everybody else is dealing with.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'd like to
Something?
add-
I'm going to do him and then Joan
Yes,
will come back to you.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to add also, we struggle with getting officers to TLIs and also to conferences and all of those things. And I think if we could probably increase some activity in those arenas, I think we would be better.
Oh, yeah.
We're up close.
We struggled with VPEs. Yeah.
What do you mean specifically? I mean,
Well, yeah, let me expound on that. So, VPE is it's a challenging role. So, if you sign up for a VPE, and it's almost like the leadership that you see saying, VPE is open, but beware, there's all this stuff that you have to do. It's going to be one of the hardest working roles in the club. And so it's very intimidating, especially if you're a working professional or in the other realms. But yeah, okay. So
I can work on that one. I'm not going to VPE in the house. I'll save that one till later.
okay. So but our struggle is the commitment of the officers' role. So like after 6 months or even less, maybe they burn out. And, me being young, I guess it's like, I don't know, it's like, you gotta have the energy to sustain in that role, because now you're sending out weekly reminders of the schedule, you're getting people educated on their goals, you're researching where they need to be, and it's almost like there needs to be like a leadership for just VPEs where you kind of like, okay, this is how you delegate like all your stuff away, because this is all you're responsible for. And like, in the year that I've been there, I've seen VPEs after 6 months they drop out, and after 6 months they drop out. So this is not like something new to this club.
We have some things we
way
can
too
address
far
on
for
that.
that, yeah.
That's okay, we're gonna get done. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to talk, so we will definitely address that one. Go ahead, you have issues in your club?
Yeah, it seems like, well, I've been at the club for 6 years. We've always been a smaller club, probably average 10 to 14 members, but it seems like with membership every year, you feel like you take a couple steps forward, you pick up 2 or 3 new members, and then you're thinking, oh good, we might actually get the net gain of 5, and next thing you know, something happens with existing members, their job changes, next thing you know, you're down 2, and it's like, well, there goes that goal for the year. And then this past fall, similar to another club, we had 6 people drop out at the renewal period, so all of a sudden you went from 14 to 8, and then next thing you're almost in panic mode because you have that new Toastmaster rule. But luckily right now, we are at 8. We have 8 active. We have 8 active members who are all participating, and we've gotten a club coach. We met him this morning, so we're trying. But that's probably the main issue now is membership.
Ms. Jones, do you have issues in your club? Any issues or concerns that's going on in your club?
No, I just got 7 new members this month.
I guess we'll talk to her about membership. So no issues or concerns? Not at this time. Raise your hand again.
I want to piggyback off what you said about, actually 2 things, because you brought up 2 things. It's hard to, when you get these new members in, because they're joining Toastmasters to help build their communication skills. Not a lot of them think about it as far as leadership. How do you motivate that group to say, oh, we need you to take on these roles? That's something I would think every club would struggle with that, because I know I didn't join, I'm in a leadership role in my job, in my position. I didn't join for the leadership. I joined to learn how to communicate better. And also with the VP, and this is just what we've done with that, so you don't mind me sharing? I'm the president, and we saw, there's like 3 or 4 of us that really, there's always that 20% that do the work and 80% that attend, and that's in anything. So we started dividing those duties up. As the president, I started helping do the agendas and things like that. That's what we've done to help us. And so she could just concentrate on the things she's good at, and she admits that. She's a logistical person. I'm not. She likes doing that paperwork. But I'll take the other stuff off of her plate, and I've added to the president's plate for our club. Whatever works for your club, you can figure out. So.
Thank you. Did anyone not have a Pam that you share things going on in your club? You thought I was going to teach you.
Ding.
No, I got those little check marks, girl. Yes, ma'am?
You know my club.
That's okay. I want you to
One
share
thing
with
I
the
can
group.
think to add to it is getting the members, whether they're an officer, we are in a small struggling club right now, so almost everybody's an officer, is getting them that are not or are new to, when they're assigned a role in your agenda, and the agendas come out in time for them to look in their CL and look at what their responsibilities are, they don't do it. So when this meeting goes on, then you're coaching them during the meeting, trying to get them to fulfill the role that they've been assigned. And that seems to be a constant thing. And then getting to do their part as far as giving their manual to somebody else for evaluation. It shouldn't be something you should have to remind them of every meeting. And we're a small club, so yeah, we do. Every single meeting, the newer people under score have to remind them, do this. And we only have an hour, period. 1 hour, no extra. People are outdoors as soon as it's done.
Well, is the Toastmaster calling the people that's on the agenda? The Toastmaster's supposed to call the speakers, the general evaluator is supposed to call the rest of the team. And that's how you get it going.
We've tried some of that. So a lot of people don't want to be called. You can text them, you can email them, and we do that.
Give them a call anyway.
I will let Bruce introduce himself because I did not allow him to introduce himself because he's not a president. However, you all still need to know who he is, so will you tell everyone who you are? Besides my husband.
I'm the note taker.
We're the Toastmasters, sir.
My name is Bruce Adams, DTM. Been in the organization 9 years, got my DTM 3 years ago. I'm currently the VPE at my club. I'm a 2-time past president in other clubs. This is my 3rd district. I don't know. I'll stop there.
Yeah, we might be here all day. I can joke with him like that, no, I can joke with him. They said we were going to reconvene at 1 o'clock, is that true?
Yes.
At 12? I thought they said 12, then I thought they said 1 o'clock.
Noon is 20 for lunch.
Noon. Will you let me know 20 minutes for 12?
I will.
Please, so that we will be able to wrap it up. Thank
I
you
just
very
want to
much.
say, even though we're an advanced club, we still have the same problems.
Correct.
And a little bit different because all of us have already, we have a home club that we're active in and an advanced club, but we still have to get CCs and CLs and that's very challenging for an advanced club. So we try to be different, try to bring a different level to, but my question as the president of an advanced club is I need to be able to talk to other advanced clubs and I don't know how to connect with them. And I need help, so that we can share ideas about how to be an advanced club, because it's a little bit different animal.
A little bit different. You good with your note taking?
Yep.
So now we'll start to address some of these. And we may not be able to get through every single one at the time that permits, but I do want us to take a little bit of time for each one, and I want everyone to share. If they've had this same problem, and they found a workable solution for that problem, please share it with the group because that's what we're here for. We're trying to all learn together and grow together and not have all these headaches and issues because I don't want to get accused of being the Debbie Downer. So we can't leave and they said, we came down when we were at our meeting. Scheduling conflicts, corporate clubs. I was a president of 2 corporate clubs, but they said I can't talk, so I'm not going to talk about that until we run out of other options for other people to talk to. We'll start with John because he raised his hand. Do you have some good wisdom, words of wisdom for clubs that are struggling with scheduling
We're going
conflicts?
to do this in both clubs. Issues where people were setting up and we were always getting the email. So here's what we did. We got a 3rd speaker. So we have speaker 1, speaker 2. Those are the speakers. If all of a sudden speaker 2 drops out and you're 3, guess what? You're it. Okay? So that took care of part of that. The other thing is we have a hot seat. Okay, if you're in the hot seat, that means you can have any of those other roles except the speaker. If the evaluator's not there, if the grammarian's not there, you're it. So that person is plugged in on the schedule. If you look at my schedule, you'll look down there and say, oh, Susie is S3. Tamir happens to be in the hot seat. So that's out, that's scheduled. And so if you do that and put that up front for folks, you've got at least 75, 80% of it taken care of.
Awesome, awesome. Anyone else on scheduling? Some good ideas on scheduling. Scheduling conflicts,
Well, exactly.
mainly in corporate clubs where they can't make a meeting because they've been called out to a meeting where they are paid to do their
Yeah.
job, so they don't have a choice but to not be there.
Yeah, so that's why, it's Eric, yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask, because we just made that decision to have a morning and an afternoon, and you said you've got two that's like that already, so I was gonna see if that's worked out for you or not.
Well, it works out in the sense that people pick the one that fits better within their shift or whatever, but there's still things that come up where they plan to be there and then they're like, oh, I can't. So it gives them more options, but you still have those problems just because they're hours.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh.
You were speaking about your schedule. How far in advance do you do your schedule?
My
So I was looking at your little squares there.
12 weeks out.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Can I ask a quick question? Sure. I can't write and listen and watch. On the hot seat solution, is that actually on the agenda, whoever gave the
Yeah.
solution?
It is here.
Okay.
I'll leave you all in the agenda if you want to look at this. And you can see the abbreviation, you can pretty much figure it out.
Yes.
And we have it on a spreadsheet. I don't know who designed this a couple of years ago, but every now and then, if you do VPE, I'm sure everybody's run into this, where you've got speaker 1, speaker 2, and speaker 1. And then somebody says, well, who is it? Somehow or another, they figured out on this spreadsheet to say, okay, we've got all of these roles covered. You don't, if all of a sudden you see a second speaker 1, there's something down here in the spreadsheet that says, oops, go make an adjustment. So you never have that problem.
Correct.
So it's
very good.
It's an interesting spreadsheet. If somebody like a copy, I can shoot them one, and that has that stuff around it. If you need an explanation, then I'll give you my VPE.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So your members rotate through this spreadsheet?
Yep.
They don't pick their assignment?
No. This is giving you, this is what you're going to do. Now, if you got a conflict, and Bob always sends something out, say, okay, I'm doing the agenda, or the schedule for the next 3 months. Do you have something that you know? And of course, in the summertime, when we're taking vacations up in Iowa, that's important that Bob knows that.
Sure. So, but my question is, you're basically assigned to
You're
different
assigned.
roles.
You're assigned,
instead
you're
of
not volunteering.
Picking, not volunteering.
You're right.
That's
That
what
works,
makes
that
a
works
difference.
very well in our corporate club.
So that's you just assign the role, you don't wait for volunteers.
Nope, you assign
Yeah,
it.
but you can always ask, hey, does somebody need a special, I got one speak to go. Okay, when would you like to do it?
Right, right. That was one of the things that helped, was assigning roles, because you can wait all year round to volunteer for a role, and nobody will do that. One of the other suggestions that worked really well in our corporate club was to have everyone draft their speeches ahead of time. People just think, okay, well, I signed up for it now, so I don't have to speak again for a week or for 2 weeks, and so they're trying to rush through it, and then when they realize, oh, I ran out of time to do this speech, then they back out. A lot of times, they're not backing out because they're not available. They're backing out because they're not prepared and they're not ready, and it's an excuse. Now, I'm not saying that's in every situation, but in a lot of situations, that's what's going on. Have them draft their speeches ahead of time. I'm working on my DTM. All of my 7 speeches for this year was drafted already. To where if I had to speak, all I had to be worded with was rehearsing that speech and giving it at that next meeting. It helped a great deal. And so that's just a suggestion on schedule. We are going to move forward. We'll come back to some of these, but I don't want us to run out of time to get to them. Is that okay?
We're good.
Okay.
You said 20 till 12, right?
Yep.
I got you.
Thank you. Okay, everybody wants to speak. I don't think that's a real big call. I was going to say, one of the main things is if you read your handbook, it will tell you have speak-a-thons. And a lot of our clubs are not doing that. So I really want to echo that where you have a special meeting and you just give speeches. You don't do table topics, you don't assign all counters on, you just do speeches, and you can have probably 7 or so in an hour's time, yes, sir.
So you're just leaving out the logistics,
That's correct.
the pomp and circumstance,
That's
and
correct.
you're just doing speeches?
Yes, let's just do these 7 speeches, and let everybody know in advance so they can prepare it and say, hey, there's your time to get it done. Now, one person can't give 2 or 3 speeches, and we ran into that before. They said, oh, I'll just give 3 speeches. No, it's not for that. It's to hopefully give an opportunity for those people who have not spoke to be able to have that opportunity to speak. Go ahead, Ann.
That's actually great because I know everybody wants to speak. I know in my club everybody wants to speak, but that's great for to be able to hold a speak-a-thon or a contest. You know, put them up against, I don't want to say against, but yes, they're against each other to see who can actually be at our next speak-a-thon or whichever. And whoever wins has the option to go to the speak-a-thon if they're available. And if not, the second place are the ones that actually can go to it. So they're great, and it helps with leadership also.
Speak-a-thon could be an open house too.
That is
What
correct.
is that?
I'm going to get to Ms. Jones, I'm going to get to Eric, and then to you. Ms. Jones?
What I wanted to say is, a person cannot get credit for giving 2 speeches at one meeting. A lot of people are not aware of that.
Correct, that's why I wanted to bring that up, and so, yes, sir.
That's a great thing for an area event, or you can have a
Absolutely.
joint meeting with another club.
That is correct, thank you very much. And Eric?
I just had a quick question.
Okay.
When you say it's just, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I say when it's just speeches and nothing else, does that mean they're not timing them, they're not counting their eyes, they're not evaluating
Well,
them, or
they
you
do
do have all
they
of
do
that?
have to time them,
Okay.
and typically you can get an odd count on the grammarian thing, but you're not going to be doing tabletop, it's going
Right,
to
but
be
you
thrown
still
out.
have all the evaluation that goes with the speech.
Right, and typically,
Right.
with those that I've been in, the evaluations are not verbal evaluations, they're just written in the book.
Okay,
Because that also takes time, so the whole purpose is to just get them speaking and not have all the other functions, because then it would be too long. We're meeting, however, if you have an open club, and you can meet for 2 hours and have a speaker-thon and still have all those other roles, why not? It's more training and you get to learn more. We're gonna continue on. Lack of commitment by new members. Is everyone in here inducting their new members? Do you have an induction ceremony?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
One more thing.
I'll be the first, I'll be the one that says no.
Okay. It's very important to induct your new members, because that's what makes them feel special. When we induct our new members, and I don't want to talk, but I do want to make sure we can get through this, so if someone else has a great idea, that's wonderful. Part of the induction says that they should commit to the Toastmasters promise. I cannot tell you how many people do not even know what the Toastmaster promise is. So look in your leadership guide, find that Toastmasters promise, and have it available for those new members. Print out a certificate. The certificates aren't that much. You can get them from Toastmasters. You can go out there and get a free template from anywhere and print a nice certificate. Get a membership pin if the budget allows for it. And when you go to that next meeting, your VPM, your Vice President of Membership, should be inducting that new member. It's maybe 3 minutes of the time from your agenda that's going to be taken up doing that. A crucial goal for having that person come back. Because if they join, and you say, oh, thank you for joining, and you just kind of go on about your business, you have made me feel special. You have made me feel like I really want to be a part of this organization or a part of this club. You just got me to sign off and give you some money, and now you're good, but what about me? People are very into what about me. Any other things on lack of commitment by new members?
Make sure they've got an intern.
Absolutely. I was going to do that. Woo-hoo!
Okay, when they sign their application, that Toastmasters promise is on the back of that application. And when they sign it, they said they've read that Toastmaster promise, hold them to it.
That's correct. You have to hold them to it. And just like Miss Sally said, assign them a mentor right away. Now, of course, in some of the smaller clubs, like you mentioned, that only have 8 members, people almost get burned out because these people are holding an officer role. Now you're asking them to be a mentor. In the middle of that, you're asking them to do a speech, and they're just like, oh, okay, I'll go and take me away. But typically, I'm dating myself, typically, if they've been a part of the club and they're passionate about that club and passionate about being a member, they're going to find a way to make it happen, no matter what.
That is one thing that you just brought up. I mean, even being president, when there are not other officers that are doing their needed duties, the president, you kind of need to get that done. And so if you're going to be elected to be an officer, make sure that you get and read the back you promised.
Absolutely.
To actually do this, and that is your duties, and make it your own way, do anything, but you've got to do it, because one person cannot do 5.
Well, and part of that promise says,
500 things.
part of that promise says, I will give speeches. Part of that promise says, I will serve as an officer if I'm asked to do so. So if they haven't read it, no one's encouraging them to read it. And then you come up and say, hey, when are you going to do a speech? Oh, I'm getting to it. I'm going to get around to it. They don't feel any, what's the word?
No
push.
No.
There you go. No push to get it done.
Yes.
So we will move on over to commitment by officers. There are a lot of people that have been pushed into being an officer, hence why they do not serve well in those roles. I would not encourage you to ever push anyone into being an officer. If someone tells you they just absolutely cannot do it, respect that they can't do it. Respect their no. Now, I'm not saying you can't give a gentle push. My husband calls me a soft bully. I'm all about that gentle push. But I try not to be a bully to where I'm like, you will do this, because now I'm turning into a dictatorship. If that person takes on the role and you help them through that process, not only will you achieve, but they also will achieve. And you get to achieve together. So who in here has some suggestions on helping those officers to do what they said they're going to do?
I think it's important that you're honest and upfront about the roles and responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Because if you tell somebody you're going to be the sergeant at arms, and you don't know what that sergeant at arms is supposed to do, and they go, okay, yeah, I'll do that, that's not fair to them or the club. And that's where I think the problem that we might have had in the past with some of our officers, and it happened to me. I volunteered for a role, a leadership role, not aware of what the job was. And that's, I didn't do a good job because I wasn't aware and didn't ask the right questions. And that's where we need to make sure if anybody wants to do a role, especially as we mentioned the VPE role, that role takes a lot of time. If we don't tell people what this does, it's going to fail.
And get them to TLI training. That's what it's for. One of the things that we did also is we said, hey, let's do this as a team. I talked about team at the very beginning. So the last TLI, we all carpool together. We're driving an hour and a half. Nobody wants to drive an hour and a half. But if one person will agree, now we can talk about club business while we're driving down the road. We can talk about how we're going to do our membership. We can even maybe go to lunch afterwards and have that time for that camaraderie. Yes, Gina?
Yes, with that, I now forgot the question. Sorry, no, it was, what was it? It'll
Ms.
come.
Jones?
I know.
No, I was just going to
Oh,
say.
go ahead.
One thing we started doing, because the clubs transition a lot.
Absolutely.
So every 3 to 4 months or so, we have someone like John Wallace, he's been a member for years, over 10 years. So I have him do like a leadership thing, go over all the leadership roles. So, as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to contact him, I need you to do another one of these. Just kind of go over these roles with us. Because I'm only, Logan and I started at the same time, I think, with his club, but I'm only just over a year now. And so we can understand the roles, and sure we can pull up those, the PowerPoints, but John can just spit that stuff out directly, and it makes the club feel comfortable with the new members.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, get back to me.
Wonderful. I know she's
No, what I've done, yes, I've been running officer positions. I've actually made it my way and provided some information for the next officers. Like this is how how I have done this. You can take these duties, whichever, and make them your own. But in the past, some of them have not really. They've pretty well fallen apart. So I do feel, and I know it is correct, each person needs to do their role the way they would like to. So I think being an officer, just influencing them by some ways that work well with you and well with the club and you that sort. So that was
one of the other things that's really, really important is as the officers transition from one year to the next, have a meeting where you have all your old officers and all your new officers come together and they can sit there and they can find out what their role is going to be from the best source that there is, the person who just did the job. It's like having a mentor for officer or having a buddy system. I've seen so many people because they don't know what their role does. Nobody tells them what it does, and now you're expecting them just to do it, and they're going, well, nobody's telling me what to do, so guess what? I do nothing. Yes.
I have a question off of that, because it's coming up time for us, for our club, but we're probably most likely going to still be officers. So is there any rules and things about that, like, or as I'll be the past president, can I not serve as this officer role, or, you know, anything like that we need to be aware of?
I believe you're not supposed to be a president more than 2 times consecutive year. The other roles, as far as I'm concerned, I've never heard of any rule that you cannot serve in that position more. Now, someone knows.
It's in the manual, in
Right.
the officer's manual.
Right, right, it's in the
That
office.
it can spell it out.
One thing we do in our club is we pick somebody in the club who would be a good person to groom to take your position.
Yes, yes,
So
it's
we work
successful.
with them, we identify them, they're usually already in another leadership role and they're going to move up in one.
Right.
But you just have to encourage people to learn about the role and pass them that information before they throw their hat in the ring.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'll bring up, and I know Bruce said don't get me on VPE, but while we're talking about the commitment of officers, if you take on an officer role, president, VPM, VPPR, whatever it is, you can ask for someone to assist you. You would be surprised if you just ask some of the new members. They may not want to take it on. And one of my club, the lady was like, absolutely not. I don't want to be an officer. I'll never be an officer. And I said, well, would you consider helping us if we needed help? She was the greatest support. If I needed agendas printed because I got stuck in a meeting and I could call her, she got them printed. If I needed certificates printed for a contest, she did it. She would do anything you asked her. She just didn't want to hold the title. So make sure that if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, don't get overwhelmed and quit or be miserable doing your job, because then you're taking the fun out of it. Do it well, and ask for help. Yes, sir.
I look at the report committee by officers as I would in a squadron, as if you were a squadron commander. Also, the squadron commander, he is the go-getter. Yeah, you see the meetings and all that type of thing. But he always asks his team, you know, what do you need from me? You know, what can I provide? So as president, always ask your team, hey, you know, how can I help you do your position better? You know, take a little bit from each section, because there's plenty of times where I've been the only one at the time, set up the room, print out agendas, done a little bit of each thing, help with treasurer business, just bits and pieces, because you're there as a president, you're there to provide too, because you have to understand all the roles, you have to understand the dynamics, and then realize, hey, what do you need to do what you got to do, or what you have to do better, and that makes things work a little bit better.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like that.
And thank you all for attending. I want to tell y'all that now, because you've made the first step toward getting the help that you need. You could have stayed at home and you would not have this valuable resource of having all the other presidents say, hey, I have a problem, because so many times we think it's just our problem. Nobody else could possibly be going through this, and you don't get a chance to talk about it. Ms. Jones bragged that she had 7 new members that just joined. Guess what? If you're having a problem with membership, call Ms. Jones. She probably can give you some tips on how to increase membership.
Motivate your members to bring them in.
Membership retention. How do you retain the members that you already have? And I'll add, get new members. Anyone?
You got to make sure you're giving them what they want out of the club.
And how do you know that they know what they want?
You get them to fill out a form that tells you, and there's a handout we have from somewhere that we print out and do that with each new member, and we do it periodically with the existing members.
I sort of meet one-on-one with them before they come to our club. I get them to come in as guests. I don't urge them to join just because I want that new member. I urge them to come as a guest, sit through the meetings as long as they like. Then I talk to them one-on-one to see what it is that they want from the club. We had 2 join this month, and the recent one that just decided to join now, she wants to join my department at work in HR and training. So her purpose is just to work on her communication skills, not necessarily leadership. And y'all may kill me for this, but so when I talked to her about her joining, I told her we're not going to push her and say, you got to get these 10 speeches done in the next 6 months because they want us to be distinguished. I said, it's all up to you, and we're just here to support you and help you go at your own pace.
It is a self-paced program,
Yes.
and you told them exactly right. Nobody's going to kill you now.
Yes. I said, I'll take the blame from districts. It's nothing on you.
We want to encourage them. We don't want them to feel such an obligation to where now they feel like, again, it's not fun and this is too much like work, and anything that's too much like work, I don't want to do it. I'm done. I'm out.
That is true, and that's what we do, is whenever they come in, we ask what their goal is and what they want to do. And of course, Toastmasters will help you get to your goal, and a lot of them want to deliver speeches or be able to speak more clear and better with management already that sort. So that's pretty what we do. We don't force them. We say, this is a great area.
On that kind of topic, I sort of feel like there's probably about 5 reasons people join. Some of them join because they want to speak, some of them want to gain leadership skills, some just want to have it on their resume, or to say, oh, I'm a Toastmaster. Some people do it just for fun, and some people are there for more professional networking. And there might be other reasons, but those are the 5 I've kind of looked at. And I feel like if you can kind of, if somebody can latch onto one of those, then they're going to get something out of it, but not everyone's there for the same reason. So you might push one person and be like, why don't you speak? And they're like, oh, I'm just here because I want to be able to say I'm in Toastmasters. And that might be all they want. But finding out why they join is also important, because then you'll understand what they're trying to get out of it.
And let me tell you something else that's very important. We are a communication club. Communicate with those members, and not just at Toastmasters, because again, then they only care about me being a Toastmaster. They only care about their numbers. They don't really care about me. Spend that time, shoot them a quick email and say, hey, I just want to see how you were doing. How's work coming along? How's your family? That small amount of effort, you would see a huge change in your clubs, and I know that because I do. I've had people that have come. In fact, Ruth will tell you, we had a lady that have come to 4 meetings on and off, and every single time she came, she said, I'm going to join. She didn't join.
Yeah.
She walked away. She come to it 3 weeks later. I'm going to join. Okay. Now I could have got my feelings hurt and got my feelings, as the young people say. I hate that phrase. And just wrote her off. But instead, I became Facebook friends with her. A lot of the people that came here today, when I met them in contest, I immediately sent them an email and found out a way to keep in contact with them. That's why I knew who they are today. I knew when Eric got his CC because he put a message out that they were going to have a big luncheon for his CC, and I said, wow, I wish I could be there. So he didn't know me other than from here. But I guarantee if he came to my club, he'd feel welcome even before he walked in the doors. She joined the club at the last meeting.
Awesome.
And she said, I told you. I never told you. Okay. Lots of members do the business. Corporate clubs this happens all the time. And military, because military has been sent on TLI. Your corporate club, I was in one, went through a huge layoff. In fact, we had just gotten our offices done. And 2 weeks later, 2 of the officers who I knew have done a phenomenal job, because in those 2 weeks, they had already turned things around, got laid off. That wasn't a good situation. But I had to pick myself up and say, well, time to nominate again. Sent out nominations. These are the people that we lost. We need to get these roles filled. Who's up for it? Nobody initially jumped in. But I asked my other officers, do y'all think that you've made to fill this role just until we can find someone, because we want this club to be strong and we all made a commitment for this to happen? 2 of them took those roles on. My secretary became the secretary and the VPM, and so on and so forth, until we found the person. When they realized how much work she had to do, because nobody would step up, the very next meeting, the gentleman said, I'll take the VPM role. Strategy. You have to strategize. So lots of members do the business. You just have to be out there working with your VPPR and working with your VPM to constantly get members in. If you have 20, don't be subtle, because that's what Toastmasters is asking for you to have your base number, have 20. Get up to 30, get to 40. If you have to split into 2 clubs, that's great. But always be in a position to bring members in, because you will surely lose them, whether it's layoffs, it could be death, it could be divorces, it could be just they don't have the stomach, it could be stress. Always increase your membership. Anyone else on lack of members do the business before we move on? Okay? Sign up and dropouts. Kind of went over that with scheduling. So I think we're pretty clear on that there's always going to be some that's going to drop out, unfortunately. You just have to have someone, and you gave us a good lesson about the hot seat. Okay, well, guess what? You're up. I've spoken many times as the president, even though I wasn't supposed to, because I wanted us to have a speaker. I didn't want new guests to come in and we don't have all the roles fulfilled. I've gone over maybe 2 minutes at a meeting and actually told them up front, because I wanted them to experience what table topics was like, so they could get a full outlook of what the meeting was about.
We have our members, if they're scheduled and they cannot fulfill that duty, they have to find a replacement.
Right. And that's a good idea, and some will, and some will not.
Yeah.
But it's a good suggestion for them to do that, because some will take it and say, wow, it's my responsibility. I really did sign up for this, and now that I'm not going to make it, it's no more than right for me to go out there and try to find someone. Unfortunately, when you're down to, 8 members, it's really hard to do because there's nobody to call.
If they're on the schedule, say, on a speaker this week, but I can't make it, but I can make it next week, well, they can swap.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Swap,
That's a great
swap
suggestion.
duties.
Great suggestion. Personal touch at the corporate club. What was this about?
Not having time when your hour's up, it's up. Somebody just saying.
Oh, there you go.
I don't, the military is a little bit different beast as far as business and how time is framed, but I think for corporations, it has to be a value recognized across the entire corporation, honestly from the top up so it can trickle down. And once the heads of the corporation realize the value behind it, if they want people to succeed, yeah, you can go on your own time and do what you have to do, but how much better does it make you as a corporation? How many more people are going to want to follow you if you allow for that time, if you allow for that bending of time for not for snacking off, but for sharpening yourself, and you get the advantage of doing it at work. Like once that value is understood across the board up top, I believe that will change that completely. But you have to convey that value by sometimes sacrificing and continuously being consistent in presenting that value to the upper management.
Thank you. One of the meetings for a corporate club, have an outside luncheon. Make one of those meetings where you can have a time of fellowship, whether it's having your management provide pizza and you don't have a meeting that day, so you can all sit around and have pizza and talk or whatever, or some management, and I know because we've done it, will allow you that hour and a half opposed to an hour so you can go out to a nice restaurant. Restaurants love Toastmasters coming in. They will give you discounts, they will provide a separate room that you don't have to pay for, they will do whatever you want. Take them up on their offer. You had your hand up?
It was exactly like you're saying, get management's buy-in, and you can
That's correct.
have that time to get that personal touch with your members. Our vice president of HR is the one who kind of kick-started our club, so I'm always going to her, making sure we've got what we need. When we were having issues securing a room and, worried about that time frame and all, I go to her and it's handled just like that. So as long as I've got management's buy-in, they support us on whatever we need to have done.
And that is excellent, as it should be. Don't be afraid to talk to management. You would be surprised at what they would give you. Yes, sir.
I'm going to go back to the luncheon. Have a boss's day once a year
Yes.
with a luncheon if you can do it. They may give you a little more time and then they see what you all are about. And if you can push the speakers to talk about advantages of Toastmasters, there you go.
Absolutely. We had our management where they would come and do a speech once a month. And we didn't know how well it would go over. It was a suggestion that I had, and I thought, what the heck? They can either tell me yes or no. I'll ask them about anything. And they, amazingly so, said, yes. You'd be surprised at how happy the members was to know that we have a company that supports Toastmasters so much that they're allowing the managers to come down and speak to us. And then I was able to, at a town hall meeting, speak to all 1,000 employees to get new members to Toastmasters because they believed in the process. So for sure, get with management, it will have a great year. Officer attendance. You can put a rope around their neck and drag them. I would suggest you do that. I would suggest you do that and tell me that you did it because I swear I didn't tell you.
I thought about offering an open bar and free donuts.
That could work, that could work. Bottom line is we're all adults, and either people are gonna do it or they're not gonna do it. I get disappointed when they tell me they're gonna do it, and then they come with 1,500 reasons why they're not. I'd rather just say I'm not gonna do it. And be done with it, because now I've wasted my time and my effort constantly saying, hey, you're gonna come to this meeting, hey, you're gonna come to this meeting, and so you had your hand up, yes, sir.
Yes, there's no one else to raise theirs. You can look at it as peer pressure or embarrassment. Having your frequent business meetings, your overseer meetings, if Sally misses 3 in a row, Sally, why are you so many business meetings? Are you really with us or are you against us? The vote's going this way, which way are you going? You have to know everybody's personalities, or most of them, and maybe she's got a personal issue. You need to communicate to see what the issue is.
Communicate, and y'all probably gonna hate me for this, but I'm also gonna be honest and transparent, because if you have an officer that's not doing what they're supposed to, they don't need to hold their officer's role. Why have them get credit for something they didn't do? So right now I'm serving as president of VPM, partially because of that reason. Because it's like, you know what, if I'm gonna do all the work, then guess who's gonna get credit for the work? I'm gonna get credit for the work. Until we either find another VPM or something else changes. There are too many officers, there's too many area directors, there are too many club coaches. They get these titles and they do nothing with it, and I'm offended by that. As a 16-year Toastmaster, I worked hard. I could have done duplicate speeches all over the place to get my detail, but every single speech I've done has been an original, and I worked hard for it. So I don't want to see anyone else that's not going to do that. That's my pet peeve for today. Okay. Okay, one more time.
You ready?
Okay.
You ready? All right.
Let's do this, shall we?
I wanted to tag on something that Bruce mentioned about showing up to officers' meetings. Whatever. One of the things that we've recently done is we need a lunch. And so we understand that people have obligations during lunchtime with company work. And so one of the things we've started to do is we have it in person, but we also, through my work, I have the ability to have teleconference software. And so we will call them in. And sometimes we've just done a complete virtual. Like nobody, it's just one of those things that we found where we get on the phone and that's how we do it. Whatever it takes, we're gonna do it. And sometimes still people can't make it, but whatever it takes, we have to be willing to reach people where they are.
And that is very, very good to bring up video conferencing and teleconferencing for your officers meeting, because another time people say, we just can't meet together at a restaurant or whatever. Hey, you can sit in the comfort of your home, but we need to have this meeting so we can get that on. Developing speaker rotations. Developing speaker rotations. What'd you say?
I was asking what teleconferencing. There's 100 different.
I've done it with Skype.
I've done Skype, I've done Ooh, I've done FaceTime, you name it. There's a program out there that will help you.
Yeah, there is. There's.
Right?
What we do sometimes for our officer meetings is we'll have a conference room, but then I'll turn on the computer and use it's Adobe Connect and say, if you can't make it, dial this number or join this meeting so you can at least see the stuff on the screen. They don't usually join, but at least give them an option.
We're going to move full speed ahead so we don't run out of time. So I would like at least to get a little bit of feedback on each one. So developing speaker rotation. We kind of talked about that already. Everybody kind of knows now that they have some different things they can do with speaker rotation. Effects of major life change. We talked about you're going to lose members and memberships due to life changing. You just have to be recruiting new members at every chance that you get. Military clubs, high turnover. Military, y'all want to talk about that? Tell me what you're doing to hopefully increase it since you're having a high turnover.
We're having an open house. So I'll probably change it into a speakerthon or either just a straight out table topics, which is strategy before. You just print out random pictures, 15, 20 random pictures, and have people pick 5 and just try to speak through 5 those pictures, each one. Refreshments, drinks, guest lists, just different things of that nature. We know we have a high turnover a lot of times. Those are the ways we try to approach.
Those are all good ways.
I missed one of them. I heard speakerthon, table topics only, and what was the last one, the third one?
The guest list, keeping track of the guest list and people who sign up for, or actually attend the guest list, not immediately add them to the email roster I send out each week for our meetings and things of that nature, trying to keep them motivated and keep them coming back.
Awesome, yes sir.
Now I just got to ask, so is this mostly officers that meet?
No, so this is mostly enlisted. Rarely, every now and then I have an officer come on.
So you're able to get the younger enlisted guys to come in? And,
Yes, sir.
The ones that I know want to go to college when I leave the military?
Yes, sir. We try to utilize ALS because that's a training tool that enlisted members have to go through. You have to speak at ALS, and you have to take a speech class to achieve your CCAF as far as Air Force is concerned before you move into higher rank. So we try to utilize that as, hey, this is a stepping stone for you before you get to take that speech class, or you have to go into ALS.
And will the military pay for their dues and stuff?
No, sir. The military will not pay for their dues, but we try to emphasize the fact of, hey, this is how much it is for just a year.
Personal development.
Yes, sir.
I like that.
And we have no, you're fine. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We actually have a, several, it's a big military community in Crestview, Edwin, and the surrounding area. So one of our gentlemen, he goes on TLI very often. We allow him to do virtual meetings, so he would not have to miss a meeting. If he can get somewhere where he can meet with us from 6 to 7 o'clock on a, Thursday, Tuesday night, and we're all there, we hook up our monitors, it takes all of 5 minutes maybe, and allow him to join by way of Skype, Google, one of the other programs. And so, again, people will join, and then once they get sent out, they think, oh, I have to quit because now I can't even do this. Yes, you can. You can. Okay, how to keep a club distinguished? Well, we know one of the things is coming to TLI training. If you come to one half and you don't come to the other half, you just lost that point. And that's unfortunate. So we just have to do better. Always try to continue to get new members. You have 4 new members and then 4 more new members. That's 8 new members in a year, which can be very challenging and tough, especially when you get 8 and you lose 4. You get 8 and you lose 8. Now you have back to where you started. But don't get discouraged. Just keep it on. It will continue to grow. And if you need to, get a club coach. Some of the club coaches are very good. They're very passionate. They've been in Toastmasters a long time. They know the type of things that work. Utilize the different things that the district has provided for us. Get on Meetup. Get on Facebook. Make sure that your VPPR is really publicizing the club. VPE is struggling. Bruce said he would address that, so Bruce, you're up. See how easy that was? I delegated.
The very first time, did you bring it up here?
Yes, sir.
The very first time I was VP, I thought it was relatively easy. I found out, I've been VP, I guess this is the 3rd time now. I found out through experience and reading the manual, it is the toughest job in the organization. Tougher than the president, tougher than the treasurer, it's the toughest job. You've got to be focused, you've got to be organized, you've got to have some ideas, you've got to understand scheduling. But I'm not really struggling. As someone mentioned, whatever they're falling down on or whatever they need help on, you need to get someone, hopefully besides the president, but the president is always the last cheerleader, if you really handle it. Have someone else help them up on that area. If it's running an open house, maybe Sally's very good at that. Well, if I'm the VP and that's not my area of expertise, Sally, can you help Bruce if we now work together? Or if it's running contests. I mean, I've been in contests, I've run contests, but maybe this gentleman knows it better, and we can work together. He can help me learn it, and I can help him, and we help the club. So I guess it basically comes down to, if you know what 1 or 2 or 3 items they need help on, find someone to help them, or you have to help them, or you should help them. You don't have to, but you should help them. But it's if you've never been a VP at a small club, large club, you haven't lived yet.
Yeah, take one of those and pass it around, please. Okay, 4-year commitment by officers, 6 months they drop out. And so again, the only way you can get the commitment is just to ask people to do the job. They're either going to do the job or they're not going to do the job. I don't have a great answer for you other than you do the best that you can with the job that you've been given. We need to be concerned about everyone else, but if you do your job well, they're going to look up to you and they're going to say, wow, she really knows how to do their job well. If someone comes to me today and says, hey, explain the VP role, I can tell you what the VP role is. I can tell you what the VPM role is. If they ask me, how do you increase membership? I can tell you how to increase membership, what to do as a public relations officer. So your main job is do your job well, others will look up to you, and chances are they will do it well also. Get them to sign up for that commitment. Anyone else on full-year commitment by officers? It's challenging for some of the persons. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that our club only goes for 6-month terms.
Right. Some only go for 6 months and some goes for a year.
So that's an option if you've got a club that has a high turnover rate, people that are, move a good.
Well, I think the way they have it is that you can have 6 months if you meet every other week, and you have to have a year if you meet every week.
Okay.
So it will not be an option
For
everyone. But it's a good suggestion, but it just won't be an offer for everyone to be able to do that.
Right. So we do meet twice.
Right.
At our first executive meeting, we all said, now, who's going to be your assistant? We named the assistants right then.
Very good suggestion. Do it on the front end, not on the back end. Keeping membership up, the numbers. How do you keep your membership up? Don't everybody talk at once. I'm not supposed to talk, remember, I'm talking back.
Yeah, so how do you,
Relations officer.
you said, how do you keep your membership up? I've done a few things.
Okay.
The first strategy I looked at to the current membership, to increase the new membership. And I went in front of everybody and I said, we're going to start a campaign. And this campaign is everyone bring one. If everyone brings one person, there's 8 people in the club, everyone brings one person, there's 16 people in the club now. And it's that easy. I mean, if you, all it takes is bring one person. And people naturally find the Toastmasters group, because we've had people who come from online all the time. And I felt like that was one strategy that actually ended up working, because I'm bringing new people in. I just talked to a friend and I said, hey, I just need one friend to come with me to this Toastmasters meeting. Would you mind coming with me? If I invited you, would you mind coming with me?
And that is so awesome and so important, because again, the officers want the clubs to grow, but nobody invites anyone else. I can see the members not doing it, perhaps because they don't really know how to do this or what's required of them, but there's no reason for the officers in these clubs to not do what they can to increase membership. I'll get you, but I cut him off. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh.
Did you have something else?
Well,
You're looking at doing a 10-year anniversary.
I'm looking at doing it, yeah. I mean, I've never done an anniversary anything, except for my birthday, but then I did that online. I'm just saying. Yeah, I did a Facebook Live event for my 30th birthday, and I know this is funny, but this is the way it is right now. I mean,
gotta do what you gotta do.
But I mean, I've never organized that kind of event, so I probably would reach out to some of the other clubs around town.
You can make it as small or as large as you want. We celebrated one when I was in Houston. Our club went through 15 years. They invited the area governor, the division governor, the bottom two came. They had cake and punch. They went over all the historical history as to, how many times we were extinguished, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can invite.
You can invite
anybody.
mayor.
Mayor.
Seriously, you'd be surprised if you say, hey, the mayor's going to be at our next meeting.
You only go through 10 years once, or 20 years once.
Absolutely. You had something else we're going to move on?
I was just gonna say, he does that, he actually came to my Toastmasters group with a guest.
Oh, you
So, how is that?
One of the other things is never let the clubs become boring. I have visited a lot of clubs, and I have to tell you, I did not like what I saw when I went, because I went there, and I don't expect everybody to be energized by like me or be enthusiastic by me, but I do expect you to smile. I expect for you to notice that I walked in the room. I expect for you to greet me, and everybody wants to leave that up to the sergeant at arms. No, it's not just the president's job. It's not just the sergeant at arms job. It's everybody's job to greet that guest when they come in and make them feel welcome. And don't be embarrassed to ask them to join. It's not a sales pitch. We have something great to offer. Tell them it's only about $8 a month. You're not going to get that at Dale Carnegie. You're going to spend $1,800.
Exactly.
And guess what? It's not lifelong. So you're going to go through that course and you're out. It's over with. Use those tools that we've been given to make sure that we can keep that membership going up. And we're going to get to the last one, how to motivate leadership track. Share duties. Who had that one? Motivate the leadership track. Oh, because you said some people just want to do communication CC manuals. You are going to find people. We had a person in our club. She just wanted to do speaking roles. She did not want to do leadership.
But didn't tell us.
She didn't tell us, so she got mad and she left. I mean, because we kept assigning the roles, we didn't know that she didn't want to do leadership roles, so it's like, if you don't tell us, we're not, we don't know.
Communicate with us.
Communicate with us, tell us. You know, so we are going to find people.
I did a survey one time, and I actually sent an email out, and people gave me feedback from 1 to 5, because we had considered, because we had such low membership for 2 months straight. And so I sent an email out saying, from 1 to 5, what do you think, your feedback, and then I give them a list of questions.
Absolutely.
And then I said, whatever else
Yeah,
you
anything
need to
that you want
add.
to talk about, that's awesome. From time to time, give out an evaluation. That's what I gave y'all those green cards for. Thank you for bringing that up. I want you all to evaluate me. Now, we're going to have a training evaluation that Miss Tammy and their group will be getting back. But I would like to see what you all thought about this session, so as we can continue to give them in the future, we'll know what to look for. And I was talking a little bit earlier about keeping the club motivated, do something different. Every contest that I went to, they had the trophies, the people came up and spoke, and that was all good. I take nothing away from that. But I hated it personally, as a person who's done contests, and I won some contests. I wanted it to be fun. Where is the fun? So at all contests, I had streamers and balloons, and I had candies that I brought people, and we had a party. I had Mardi Gras beads, and you'd be surprised at how many people came to the contest for a piece of candy. I'm like, seriously? They actually worked. I'm just saying. I didn't know it was going to work. But they were so excited to come in there because it gave that party atmosphere. And so they looked at all the streamers and the candy, and they got to listen to these great speeches, and guess what? Several of those people not only came to the club contest, but they followed to the area contest. You saw them at the division, and when you asked them, why did you come? Because contests are fun. I had my area director, division director, when they did theirs, guess what they had at their contest? Balloons and streamers and candy. And they gave me credit for it. I didn't do it to get the credit. I did it because I want Toastmasters to be fun, because I would have not stayed in it for 16 years if I hated Toastmasters. I would leave and never come back. Now, I did leave at 1-1. I'll be honest with you on that. But I couldn't stay away. Maybe I need to help Dr.
We got another sheet here with 2 more.
Okay. You see, I took that one.
Pray for them. Pray for them.
Use of CL and understanding the project, who calls who?
You said 20 minutes as well?
Yep.
That's what you get your
I got
mentors
you.
for.
Say it again.
You
And my
have
timer didn't
mentors,
go
have mentors, use them. That
Yes.
should be one of the key things.
Go on.
Mentors should be talking to their mentees about, along with the CL projects.
Right.
Let's, our CC projects, talk about the CL projects as well. And then, of course, you're available, don't just talk, be available in case, one, they have questions, or they have problems, or they need assistance. There's the support that fits in with everything else that we've been talking about.
Right. And sometimes it's thank you very much for that. It's very hard to address some of those, and I'll say again, especially at the corporate club, because you're so limited to that 1 hour. But send out an email. You can do educational training by email if you need to. Don't just do nothing. Again, nothing from nothing will leave nothing every time. Get your people trained. That's what your VPA role is. Yes.
We are at the 20 minutes. Thanks, Eric. My timer didn't go off.
Oh, gosh. I was so exhausted. I was looking at you. Tell me that. Goodness. No, I know. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do it. Okay, real quickly. So advanced club differences and how to connect with others. So you talked about needing some help with advanced clubs. Reach out to your other advanced clubs. And if you have to, reach out to some other districts. I was District 56, I can give you some contact names. He was District 16, who has a whole plethora of advanced clubs and can tell you some of the things that work. Come up with maybe some suggestions of specific things that you wanted to know and email me. I'm on that form, so I'm going to send it to everyone. And then I can connect you with some people that will help you to work through your issues with the advanced, because they are done a little bit differently.
I was in one in Oklahoma too. They do have to have a different aura, or I'm not sure what the word is, a different feel, because if it's just another club, they're not gonna last.
Yeah.
So that
It has to be different.
For the
You're right.
advanced club has to be different. In
Yes.
Houston, I never attended while I was commuting. There are 8, at the time, there were 8 advanced clubs. One was storytelling, one was dinner themed.
It's not one for everybody, just hand them off.
But your advanced clubs have to be different, from what I observed over 5 years.
Yeah. Different.
So we talked about all the different issues. We came up with some great solutions. So what I would like for you all to do before you leave, and I will get to you in just a second, is you all have your phones. I saw that. Take some pictures of some of these solutions that we talked about, because it's not going to do you any good if you didn't jot down notes. If you don't come and take a picture and know what works, you're going to leave here and you're going to be discouraged, and you're still going to have the same problems that you had before. My duty and my job, and of course I'm very passionate about it, is I want you to leave saying, wow, I really learned some things that was going to help me with scheduling. I really learned some things about developing a speaker rotation, and now I know what a hot seat is. I didn't ever think that's what a hot seat was, but now we know, and I'm saying that to be serious. I heard a hot seat, but not in that way. Great idea. I love that idea for these speakers, so thank you. We had a lot of really great ideas. Some that I had thought of, and some of them that I had not. So take out time, and I'm actually going to give you time now, because once we leave here, you won't do it. Please take a picture of some of these solutions that we came up with. And if you all have any other questions, or you want to, go over anything else, give me a call. Shoot me an email. I will answer. I always answer. Eric don't always answer? Pam don't always answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm not delusional. Because my daughter told me I was delusional. How dare her? So anyway, take some pictures of the different solutions. And I'm going to ask two people to tell me what they thought about this session.
Can I add a couple things?
Only if you come here and say how you enjoyed the meeting.
I will.
Okay, wonderful. Come on, go ahead.
As being president, when we met with the club, it's a digital world. So something we did, I'm in education and to communicate with parents, so I do those all calls. Well, there's several apps for those. One of them is Remind Me app. And it's such an easy app. You can add all your club members and delete them as you need to. And you just send, as a president, boom, you send out a 120-character message. We do that weekly, and that's something we've got all these members, and now I've got some ways, okay, how can I get these new members to come back? Because I always send out a quote or something, an encouraging quote, hey, I'll see you Thursday evening. And it's just it's an easy app, it's a Remind Me app. And something else we use is Dropbox. And we put all our stuff in there, and it's amazing that VP was just uploading stuff just now, boom, boom, boom. And anybody wants to be part of the Dropbox, new members as well, not just officers, they can hop into that if they want to. And it's easy for them, and anything you want to upload. Anyway, that's what I want to add.
Oh,
now,
you're fine, you're fine.
with that,
I want you to tell me how I want you to tell me what you think about the overall picture of us coming together. We talked about some of the things that you thought that was important, that kind of thing.
I really loved, I went to the leadership training last year. It wasn't anything against any, but I was, as a first-time president and first officer meeting, I don't know if I got as much out of that as I have just now in the first 5 minutes that you did this and the way you did it. And then everybody, all these older members, and not that you're old, you all look beautiful, experience, we're able to add such details to it to give to someone like me. And that military aspect, I love that part, but that is so amazing. Just the information I have here, and I can take it back to my club. And I was texting, oh man, we can do this now and this, and so it was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad. So I want to make sure you all got something out there. And Sam, I'm going to pick on you. Tell me how you enjoyed this session. Did you think it was beneficial, and anything else you want to add?
I thought this was very beneficial and a wealth of information amongst all of our members here. Great questions, but also on the flip side, wonderful responses and answers and ideas. I'm one of those older guys, but I took a lot of notes, and I see some opportunities to be able to implement some things within my club, so that's a great thing.
Awesome, thank you. Before we leave, did anyone have anything else they wanted to add that I missed? Go ahead.
I want to add that, I don't know, did you pick this seminar for the president's one? Or was it
They asked me if I would do it.
They asked you, I think that you all fit for this specific one because the role as president, I didn't, of all the presidents here, I think I'm probably the least qualified. I was thrown into the role because our president 2 years ago she kind of gave up. She couldn't handle it. She had other job responsibilities, so I kind of got thrusted into the role. I haven't done the best job since I've had it. I've had made a lot of mistakes and things of that nature. And there have been times where I've been close to burning out and wanting to just, I'm done with it, But you all brought in a different kind of motivation for me this morning. I wasn't burned out when I walked in here, but you all brought a different type of motivation with yourselves when you present this information, and it didn't feel like a dry, PowerPoint presentation. Okay, number one, this is what needs to be done. Number two, this is what needs to be done. The motivation is contagious, and I think that it was very, very good to catch fire to some other prisoners like myself who that flame might be dwindling just a little bit and just needed just a little bit more gas to increase the flame.
You guys did good.
Thank you. And I would note But no, that's what I wanted to do. When they asked me if I would do this particular session, I just was like, okay. And I had some qualms about it only because I've been speaking for so long in many different arenas. I needed to know, okay, so are we going to be in a separate room, and are we going to be in a circle, and how's it going to be fitting? And I had none of that information prior to today. So I was stressing out because I thought, I cannot do this because I need to know how the lighting is and how the sound's going to be in the microphones, but we got to do it. And I'm not stressed anymore because everybody's happy and I'm happy. So we're going to end. Please take out time to fill out the green cards. Let me know some things I could have done better. I'm not a softie, so if you want to say some things that you didn't like, feel free to put that on there also. And a couple of you all got the TLI evaluations that we need to get back to Miss Tammy before we leave. I will take that email list and send it to everyone. Does anyone have any problem with their information being given out that they put on that form? I will scan it to all of you all by the end of the day. Anybody else with any questions? Oh, one more quick thing.
Is anyone evaluating you in your book?
You can do it.
Oh!
I thought I was back in there to a Toastmaster. Yes!
You just got voluntold.
He got voluntold. Do you mind, honey? Let me be sweet. Oh my God.
I think the lady is ready to do it.
You know, I have to get ready for my afternoon 5-minute recap.
Okay. So Miss Ann, you got it on, so you just did it.
I can do it.
Thank you, darling. I
I
appreciate
will
it.
do it.
One other really quick one before we leave that I was going to share is one of the things that we did on Facebook when you were talking about how do you retain the membership and get the members to come back is just about every speech that I've ever done has been video recorded. And I do that because although I enjoy the evaluations that's given to me in the meeting, I'm my own worst critic. So I enjoy going back and looking and saying, wow, did you do that again? You know, did you move your glasses up and down 15 times? Well, we put it out there for the public to see. And you'd be amazed at some of the people that have come out there that really didn't want to stay, or maybe they didn't hear the best speeches that they wanted to hear when they came, or a person was doing some things they didn't like. They can go out to Facebook and click on that link and say, wow, she really touched me with that speech that she gave. Oh wow, he just started here 2 months ago and he's giving speeches like that? They're able to have something to relate to without physically coming to a meeting. So that's just another suggestion for getting members and kind of keeping members. You have to be able to use the social media because everybody is out there. And if you don't use it, you're doing yourself a disadvantage by not using those tools. Yes?
Our club had talked about that, but someone had told us that unless everybody's willing to do it, you're not allowed to upload.
We get permission because that is correct.
As long as the club members give permission, or do you have, because my suggestion was, and I gotta say this, then you know how to give me an answer. My suggestion was, okay, why not, okay, there are 2 speakers, are you willing to upload your speech? Well, sure I am, but no, I'm not. What do we have to do at that moment?
Okay.
He has a video splicer.
I can address that. I've done a lot of photography work over the past 10 years. The right way to do it is to have the members sign a release that, yes, I allow you to upload my video to the internet. Now, before you do that, you can go closed. We have a closed Facebook page or whatever search you want to use. But then it's just the members, so then it's not as bad. If you go public, you know, someone may be in the witness protection program. I don't know.
Me.
So, you know, the right way,
Y'all didn't see me here.
the probably simplest way is just have them sign a real simple release. Yes, you asked me. Yes, I don't have a problem. Or if I do have a problem, yes, I have a problem. And yeah.
So is there a Toastmaster release form, or can we just make a?
No, you can make a.
I can get
Yeah, I have one that I got from somewhere. And I
Okay,
sent it to you.
okay.
And on the closed group, typically we will put the club members. But even if that, there are some members that they don't want their video shared even on the closed group site. So I am very calculated in asking them every time they speak, because maybe one speak they're okay with you doing, but they're not okay with the next speak. Hey, you know, we're probably going to upload this. That was an awesome speech that you did. Do you mind? I've only had one person tell me, do not under any circumstances ever upload a video. Okay, great. We're doing it for your benefit ultimately, but if you don't want to share it, we're okay with that.
Because I thought that would be a great way, just what they're saying, send that motivation out there, and whatever, you know.
You do have to get their permission.
Like we had a member give a thing on your box for lunch during the day. It was real funny, but I thought that would have been the neatest little humor speech, but you could do inspiration, motivation,
Yeah.
but she would never want to be on video. But.
Yeah, you definitely need to get that permission.
Another option may be, would be to ask the member, can I use excerpts of your speech?
Okay.
You know, can I use,
Joel already
instead of doing all 5 minutes, can I use 2 minutes of it? more work on the editor, but, you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so if you all do not have
Leave
anything
those out,
else?
'cause I need to go. I'll think of it.
Did you see how much I struggled as a short to even get that down? Now you want me to expand and put it back? Man, I did it.
You're stretching.
Okay, well then if there's nothing else, please leave the green cards for me, and for the TLI evaluations, y'all can give those to Tammy or Nelson or one of those.
Where would you like the green cards?
Oh, you just have it to me right here? Yes. And you don't have to put your name if I didn't say that. If you don't want to, you can, everything, you can have it. Eric, you see how much you're Toastmaster, so we know shake hands.
We're gonna try to have one in the morning
Breakout time.
at 2. Just a lot of our shifts begin at 4:30 That's got my email from office. So let's try
Thank you. I appreciate y'all coming back. Because the other thing is, she didn't hear, and nobody said this.
You can apply through Valet, because it's free. And I think if you go through Valet, they have Valet but all the products they got security cameras, so it should be fine.